Okay, guys, this is the video I'm going to talk you through how to complete this paycheck. So the learning goals here, you should be able to, by the time you're done with this video, you should be able to explain the difference between gross and net pay, determine what a deduction is and how deductions play a role in determining your net pay. And, well, I guess that's about it. And you should be able to use this video and use this skill so that when you have a job, if you have one now or in the future, you should be able to look at your paycheck and have a better understanding of what your paycheck, is showing you. And I've had a few students in the past ask me about their paychecks and wanted to make sure like their employer was paying them what they were supposed to be paying them and was supposed to be taking out what they were supposed to be taking out. So hopefully this is a real life skill that you can apply in your own lives with your own jobs, and it'll give you a better understanding of what's on your paycheck. Okay, so let's get into it. You should have this paycheck either PDF'd in Cami, or you can print it out and fill it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain how to complete the first one, and then I'll give you instructions about paycheck number 2 and let you work out that one on your own. All right, so this is some basic information about Julie Jones. So Julie is working as a bank teller. And she is paid twice a month. Some of the other stuff there, when she's paid, that's not really important. Like, we don't need this stuff. What we need to know is that she's paid twice a month and she's salaried. Salary means that you could work 20 hours a week or 50 hours a week. Your paycheck is still going to be the same, both, each pay period and at the end of the year. She's going to make $26,000 in her year, regardless of whether she worked 50 hours a week or 20, okay? These are her deductions down here. Okay, so we're gonna use these to figure out her total deductions. And then we need to find her net pay, okay? So, instructions, just like I said, you should be able to calculate gross pay, total deductions, and then lastly, her net pay. So this is what we got to find first. We have to find gross pay. So let me scroll down here, and you guys can pause the video if you'd like. All right, so to find gross pay is the annual salary divided by total pay periods annually. Remember, annually means in a year, okay? So now we know that if you just look at the instructions there, the paragraph right below my text box, we know that Julie makes $26,000 in a year. And now we have to figure out how many times throughout the year she's going to get paid. So keep in mind, she's paid twice a month. So how many months are in a year? 12. So you do 12 times 2, that would be 24. So if you did $26,000 divided by 24, that's going to get you $1,083.33. So like when you guys move on to college or to a full-time job that's salaried, and say they offer you a salary of $44,000 and they're going to pay you twice a month, here's a skill right. Here's a real life skill. Maybe you knew it already, maybe you didn't. But if you ever were like, the most important part of getting a new job is you want to know how much you're going to make. You're a salaried employee, now you should be able to figure that out if you weren't able to do so already. Okay? All right, so we got gross pay. We're going to put that up here. $1,083.33. Okay. So now we have to figure out what her total deductions are. Now, some of the deductions are given for you already. Like, we know she gets $42 taken out by the state of Illinois. She gets $122 taken out by the federal government. She pays $42 towards a health insurance plan. So that's what medical means. That's like saying if Julie was sick and had to go to the doctor, she's paying into a health insurance plan through her provider, through her employer. And she also is paid this. She also pays out $76.31 to something called 401k. So 401k, I'll put this in a text box. 401k, a voluntary retirement program. Money is invested So the voluntary retirement program, most employers offer this where they work through a bank, whether it's Northwestern Mutual or Fidelity, something like that, and you get money taken out of your paycheck before you even see it. Because what Julie's doing here is she's saying, you know what? I really can't trust myself once I get paid to set money aside for my retirement. I would rather have them take it out and I never even see it. That's what 401k is. A lot of people, full-time employees, have a retirement program that they pay into, and they get it deducted from their paycheck before they ever see it. That way they can't spend it. And so then the money's invested into stocks and bonds or a mutual fund, and then they get that money when they retire. Okay, so we're going to start filling some of these out. All right, so right here, we know that she gets $76.31 taken out. 401k. For medical, she gets $42. So I'm going to have to pan up here. But luckily for me, I have this sheet already printed out. $205 in federal taxes. So that's going to the federal government for the military and for the roads and for postal service and all the other things that the federal government provides us as public goods. $42.27 for the state, because the state wants some of her money too. State's like, hey, we got bills, we got things we got to pay for, so we need $42 of your money. These are percentages too, guys. The state bases what they're going to take out of Julie's check based on how much money she makes. So the more she makes, the more she's going to pay in federal taxes, the more she's going to pay in state taxes. Social Security. Okay, so these are the two hard ones. Go back to, I don't have to go back down. Okay, so Julie gets 6.2% taken out in Social Security and 1.45% taken out for Medicare. So now all the other ones that I listed already, they give you the deductions. That's easy. But now we have to figure out in a dollar amount what Julie's going to pay into for Social Security, what she's going to pay into for Medicare. So let's start with Social Security. So quick summary. Remember, Social Security is a mandatory retirement program that almost every American employee pays into. It's taken out of your paycheck before you ever see it. And then when you hit the age of, I think it's 62, it might be 65 now. When you hit your mid-60s, you can start getting this money back from the federal government. All right, so we know with Social Security, I'm going to put this over here. Everybody pays the same amount, okay? This is a flat tax. This isn't a progressive tax. This is a flat tax. Warren Buffett, Barack Obama pay the same amount as the chef who's working at a restaurant on the Woodstock Square. Okay, nothing against that chef, but he's paying the same amount as everybody else. All right, so now what we have to do is to figure out 6.2% of what? Of what? Of our gross pay. The money that's taken out for Social Security and for Medicare is based on your gross pay, not on your net pay. So what you have to do here is $1,083.33 times 0.062. We're not talking 60%. 60% would be 0.6. We're only talking 6%. So you're moving the decimal over 2 places. Okay, keep that in mind. A lot of kids make that mistake. They're doing it times 0.62, and that means a lot more money is coming out of Julie's paycheck. So again, gross pay times the percentage, 0.062. And that, go ahead and do the math right now. Pause the video. What did you guys get? You should have gotten $67.16. So Julie is contributing $67 each paycheck towards a mandatory retirement program that she can cash out and get monthly She's in her mid-60s. So she's essentially, if you add up her 401k and Social Security, she's paying about, oh, what is that, about $140 a month towards her retirement. It's not bad. Okay, so then Medicare. Go over here, show you the instructions. Same thing as Social Security, except we're just using a different percentage. This time, we're paying 1.45%. So quick summary, Medicare is a mandatory health insurance plan that everybody pays into that they can cash out or receive benefits from when they retire. Medicare is health insurance for grannies and grandpies, okay? It's what your grandma and grandpa probably dip into because the assumption is, hey, these people aren't working. When they're in their 60s and 70s, they're retired, so they don't have an employer that's providing them health insurance anymore. Let's help these people out because let's face it, the vast majority of people who use medical services, doctor services, are people who are older. This is something everybody pays into. Both programs, Social Security and Medicare, were created under the New Deal. When was the New Deal? 1930s under FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt. That was some of the basic tenets of the New Deal. Make sure elderly people have a substantial floor on which to retire upon. Okay. All right. So now, again, it's gross pay, $1,083.33 times. Now, is it 0.145? No, it's 0.0145 because you got to move that decimal over 2 places. Okay. I'm talking about 14%. We're talking about 1.45%. So if you did that, you should get, I have to check my cheat sheet here. I'm not Batman Zadlow. I don't have the great math skills that Mr. Zadlow has. I have already have the math done to my left here. $15.70 he's paying into each paycheck. Okay, so there you go. Those are her deductions. Now, 2 things left. We figured out her gross pay. We figured out all of her deductions. Now we have to add the deductions up, find her total deductions, and that will lead us to the net pay. It's like putting the pieces of a puzzle together. We're solving the mystery. Okay, so we're adding all these up. So go ahead and add them all up right now. 122.05 plus 42.27 on down to 76.31. Add them all up right now. Pause the video. And let's see what you got. You should have gotten $365.49. That is what she is paying out of her paycheck for state tax, federal tax, Social Security, Medicare, her medical insurance, and her voluntary 401 retirement program. It's a lot of money. Makes you feel any better. Most teachers in Woodstock, if you have a family, getting around $200 to $300 deducted from their paycheck just for health insurance. Health insurance is not cheap. So guys and girls out there, if you're watching this video, make sure when you get a full-time job, whether it's a year from now or 5 years down the road, you are looking into, does your employer provide health insurance? And if so, how much are you paying? Because that's really important. Some employers are better than others. Woodstock's is pretty solid. They do a very good job compared to another place that I taught at. So anyways, so now we got to figure out the last piece of the puzzle. What's Julie going to see? What's she going to get in her pocket after all of her deductions, after she pays into the taxes and retirement program? So what we have to do here, to find net pay, put a little text box at the bottom. Here's an important piece. Well, not gross. Gross pay minus total deductions equal net pay. So go ahead and do that right now. Find her gross pay. Already did that. Gross pay minus what her total deductions are, and that should get you her net pay. Pause the video, find it out. Julie Jones, for her hard work at the Guardian National Bank, is going to see in her bank account or in the form of a check $717.84. That's her net pay. Okay? So if you really wanted to get really farther into it, sometimes if I have kids in class, I'll say, all right, now figure out how much as a percentage is Julie getting taken out of her check in deductions as a percentage of her gross pay. So if you wanted to figure that out, how much is what the percentage is of her gross pay that's being taken out for deductions, remember to find a percentage. This should be familiar to you guys, you econ students, from Unit 1, elasticity. To find a percentage change. Change divided by the original amount times 100 to put into a percentage. So what you would do here, change would be deductions. For my children. Divided by the original, so that's her gross pay. Okay, so what we're going to do, she's getting $365.49 taken out. Her gross pay was $1,083.33. So $365.49 divided by 1,083 times 100. And she sees 34% her paycheck of her gross pay she never sees. And that is very common for most Americans. Maybe not for you guys so much because you guys pay a much smaller percentage in taxes, and also chances are you guys don't get health insurance taken out and a retirement program taken out, 401k and medical. So you guys get more back. But when you get a real job and you pay into these things, hey, you got to save, right? You know, if you want to retire, you don't want to work till you're 80. Set money aside now. That's what Julie's doing. Okay. So 3 out of every $10 that she makes, she never sees. It's going towards something. Okay. All right. So I hope that helped. Let me just take a quick look at this one. Now, there's some similarities here, and some differences. So I'm going to point out both. Now, this one, we're looking at Sally. Maybe Sally's a friend of Julie. I don't know. She's getting paid once a month. All right. But that doesn't matter. Why? Because Sally is not salaried. No pun intended. Sally is paid an hourly wage. So she's paid $12 an hour. And this pay period, she has worked 173 hours. Yeah, that's putting in the hard work right there, Sally. So to figure out her gross pay, I'm not going to do the math for you. Hourly pay times total hours worked. That will equal her gross pay. Okay, so make sure you keep that in mind. Here's her deductions. 401k, state, federal, Medicare, Social Security. That's all taken out. Now notice, there's something missing here that Sally doesn't pay into that Julie did. What is it? Medical. Sally is not paying into any type of health insurance plan. Sally must be very confident that she's not going to get hurt or get sick. Because if she does, and she goes to the doctor, she's paying for all of that out of pocket. She doesn't have a health insurance plan, at least not through her employer. So don't worry about medical because she doesn't pay into it. So what you have to do, put these into steps for you here, and I'll let you guys work. Step 1, add her gross pay. Step 2, add her deductions. Add them up. 3, you can find the percentage that she pays to deductions. Okay. Okay, so I hope this helped, and hopefully you have a better understanding of how to read a paycheck, the importance of Social Security and retirement and health insurance, what those look like now, and those will be popping up on your paycheck either now or in the future. So That's all I got. Hit me up with questions, and see ya.